Welcome to another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. I'm your host, Stephen Bardo. I got a smile on my face because it warmed up. We actually got above freezing here in Chicago. I was outside walking earlier today. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope it's warmed up and feeling good wherever you are coming and listening to Bardo's Breakdown from. We're getting to nitty gritty time. Second to last week of regular season Big Ten play. And the conference is starting to form and starting to really shake out and get a chance to look and see. I'll share my screen with you here in a second, but a lot to get to. I know, there's a fan base that wants to express themselves, so we'll get to that. But glad you're here. Take a deep breath and let's get it. All right. So let me start out by asking people to like, share, and subscribe to Bardo Media on YouTube. It really helps the algorithm. Helps me grow, obviously, the channel. And it helps get this content to other Big Ten basketball fans if they're interested. So please like, share, and subscribe to Bardo Media. All right. And then if you want to join the tribe, go to bardostribe.com and get your free copy of the guide to the new Big Ten. It's a neat little program that gives you pertinent information about each Big Ten program. So go get your free copy of that, and that will sign you up for the email. And according to someone that that I love dearly, said I was a little biting on the newsletter today. So you won't get the biting part that I wrote in the newsletter. So that's why I encourage you guys. Either text me at the tribe, 312-847-2739, or go to bardostribe.com and get your free copy of Guide to the New Big Ten. Then you'll get added to the newsletter, because what I write on the newsletter sometimes can't make the show for obvious reasons. All right. Got that out of the way. All right, let's get to it. What's up, Spoon River Cowboy? Oh, wait a minute. I'm jumping the gun here. Sorry about that. I'm going to get to you guys here in a second. I was almost going to do your questions before I got through the shows there. Pardon me there, Spoon River Cowboy. Hold on. I won't be too long. Big Ten Player of the Week this week, Nate Biddle of the Oregon Ducks. Talented 7-footer. Dropped 21-10 versus Iowa and 23 points in that spectacular come-from-behind win at Wisconsin. I haven't watched it yet, but as I was calling the game with Lisa Byington, we were covering Penn State at Minnesota, and Minnesota has an old barn, but they've got monitors up, on like the mid to higher level against the structure. So they continually run scores of college basketball games. I love it. I don't see many places do it, but it's a cool feature. So we're getting ready for the game, and Wisconsin's up. They were up 17 or something like that. And all of a sudden you saw Oregon come back and they forced overtime. Jackson Shelstad hit a big time three, and they got the win in overtime. So that's a big win for Oregon. We'll talk about that more later on the show, but congratulations to Nate Biddle, his first Big Ten Player of the Week award. Big Ten Freshman of the Week goes to Jace Richardson of Michigan State. Had two really good outings, 21 points against Michigan, 12 points against Purdue. He's really become a mainstay in the Spartans offense. I love the way that Tom Izzo has brought him along. Didn't throw him in the fire because he didn't have to. Spartans are a veteran team. They built their roster a little bit differently than everyone else, in my opinion. And I think that it helps younger players develop a lot better. And so Jace is now understanding what is asked of the coach. He's understanding the defensive concepts, because when you're as talented as Jace Richardson, you're not on the floor consistently yet for Michigan State, The only reason you're not is because you haven't learned the defensive schemes that they want you to learn. Once you get that, then you'll be on the floor, and that's what we're seeing. So congratulations to Jace Richardson of Michigan State in their wins. All right, who's balling? The Spartans are balling. Won a huge game at Michigan to take the lead in the Big Ten Conference. Spartans have won 3 in a row. They seem to be playing their best basketball at the right time. They're getting multiple contributions from different guys. We saw that Jace Richardson is getting rewarded for Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Jaden Akins is playing a little bit better. Frankie Fiddler seems to have kind of settled into a reserve role where, he can give you a few quality minutes. But everyone on this team seems to have improved, even Jeremy Fears. His shooting percentage still isn't great. It still needs work, but at least he's stepping up trying to take them. And it's making the opponents of Michigan State be a little bit more honest in how they're guarding. And that's going to help his teammates in the long run. So the Spartans are playing extremely well. Maryland has ripped off 4 in a row, and they've gotten a more favorable part of their schedule. And if you guys pay attention to Big Ten scheduling, it's not unusual that teams like Michigan State, Michigan have the gauntlets towards the back end of the slate, and they don't have such a tough road to hoe at the beginning. But Maryland, Penn State, Rutgers, some of the newer teams in the Big Ten, they come out the gate playing pretty challenging schedules. And so Maryland is handling their business, winning the games they should. All starting 5 members are averaging double figures. The thing that scares me for Maryland is their lack of depth. We'll see how they can overcome that. But starting 5-wise, they're as good as anybody in the conference. And so winners of 4 in a row and tied for 3rd with Wisconsin. And then Oregon has won 4 in a row as well. And so after losing, I believe, 5 in a row, let me get, I should have had that up by now, showing the standings and whatnot. But it's been, it's almost like outside of Michigan and Michigan State, it's as though every team is going to go through a little drought or a situation where, they're struggling. And it seems like those are the only 2 teams that have avoided a 4 or 5 game losing streak. And so we look at Maryland right now, and they're 11-5, 21-6 overall, winners of 4 in a row. And where are they here? So, yeah, they're tied for 3rd with Wisconsin, and they're playing some of their best basketball right now. And look, this is no shade, but you win at home against Rutgers, which I believe I called that game. They go out and lose at they beat Nebraska. Excuse me. Go out to Pinnacle Bank Arena and win that game. Come back home and beat Iowa, and then handle business at home against USC. So, and then one of the games to watch this week, they host Michigan State. So they've got this will be their 3rd straight game at home. So they're handling their business at home. They move up in weight class against Michigan State, though. Hottest team in the Big Ten right now. So in Oregon, we talked about those losing streaks. Maryland's done a fairly good job as well. I didn't realize they've escaped those 3 or 4 game slides. They had a 2-game slide to start the Big Ten Conference slate. They had to go to Washington, to Oregon, but they haven't lost 2 in a row since. So big up to Maryland, who's been very, very consistent. Oregon, winners of 4 in a row. And that last loss we just talked about against Wisconsin, but they had lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row at Minnesota, at UCLA, home to Nebraska, at Michigan, and at Michigan State. So 4 of the 5 were on the road. You can kind of understand that. So, but they had a 5-game losing streak. Now they follow that up with 4 wins in a row. At home against Northwestern, at home against Rutgers, on the road at Iowa, on the road at Wisconsin was the one that surprised me. So they finished the regular season. They host USC, host Indiana, and then they close out their regular season at Washington. So favorable remaining of the schedule for the Oregon Ducks. And, we'll see how that turns out. who's struggling right now? Purdue has lost 4 straight games. And that's a head scratcher to me. I knew that Braden Smith was one of the best conditioned athletes in the Big Ten, but when you're carrying the load that he's carrying at that size, I'm not surprised that he looks to be wearing down a little bit, right? So when we look at what they did against Indiana and their loss to Indiana, Braden Smith played 36 minutes. He only got up 8 shots. He was 2 of 8, 1 of 3 from three-point land, and he had 6 turnovers, so 5 assists. So that's, to me, an indication of that he might be wearing down. In their loss at Michigan State, where's Braden? Hey, he had a pretty good game. 17 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds, 6 turnovers. So the turnover numbers have been really high his last 2 games. They cannot afford that. Trey Kaufman-Renn didn't have his normal game against Indiana yesterday as well. And this is a gauntlet. Like Purdue's guys. So they lose at Michigan by 2 points. They lose at home by 10 to Wisconsin. Their defense kind of failed them in that game. They go to Michigan State, lose by 9 on the road, and then they lose. They got not mopped, but they got beat soundly yesterday at Indiana by 15. So, these things happen, and their schedule, they're still now in the woods. They host UCLA, they host Rutgers, and they finish the regular season at a desperate Illinois team. So, I mean, they had a light entry into the Big Ten schedule, but man, like they start out at Minnesota, home to Northwestern, at Rutgers, home to Nebraska, at Washington, at Oregon, home to Ohio State before they played. Well, they beat a ranked at Oregon. They beat Oregon on the road, but that's a soft entry into the Big Ten conference compared to what they're finishing with. So I can understand why they're struggling. They've hit the gauntlet of their schedule, and teams are just playing better right now. The Illini, we'll talk about that. And then the Buckeyes have dropped 3 straight. The Buckeyes team is one that is really mercurial. What do I mean by that? They've got some of the best wins in the Big Ten, right? That Texas win won't look as good because Texas didn't turn out to be what we thought they would, but it was a good win at the time. And they've got Kentucky. They got a win against Kentucky, neutral floor, right? And then, let's see. They got a win at Purdue. Purdue was ranked 11th in the country at the time. They got a win at Purdue. They won at Penn State, which is not easy, and they smashed Penn State by 19, right? Then they beat Maryland, who had mollywopped them early in the year. They beat Maryland at home. Then they go to Nebraska and lose. They come back at home and they spanked Washington. I called that game. And then they lose at home to Michigan. No shame there. But this one was a head scratcher. They lost at home to Northwestern 70-49. Right? 70-49 at the crib. That's at the crib. That's not in Evanston. That's in Columbus. Right? So let's take a look. Devin Royal, who I think is outside of Bruce Thornton, that's probably their best player. 0-4 from the field, 4 points. Sean Stewart, 4 points. Who's not going to score that much? Bruce Thornton was 6 of 12, had 13 points. John Mobley Jr. was 1 of 8 from the field, 4 points. Micah Parrish had a pretty good game, 16 points. And they got Quez Glover had 6. Mahavy had 2. They had 8 bench points. And they shot 4 of 21 from 3-point land. Northwestern shot 2 of 14 from 3 and still beat them. I mean, smacked them. So this Ohio State team is consistency eludes them. They've lost 3 of 4 in a stretch, and now they've lost 4 or 5 in this stretch. So roller coaster of a team in Ohio State. And, for the Ohio State Buckeye fans, you hope that they can find a level of consistency heading into the Big Ten Conference tournament. All right, games to watch this week. Michigan at Nebraska. First time that Danny Wolf, Vlad Golden and company are going to be out in Pinnacle Bank Arena. Wait a minute. Let me pull this up I just like to have this visual aid. 7 o'clock, FS1, Michigan at Nebraska. First time this Michigan group will go to Lincoln. And Dusty May's first time in Pinnacle Bank. Next game, we have, where are we? Northwestern at Minnesota. And the reason I put that one up there is because yours truly is on the call. All right. Wednesday, Wednesday, Michigan State at Maryland. Going to be a great game. Might be the best game of the weekend. Maybe. Right. Then Maryland at Penn State. I'm calling that one. 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern on Saturday. Interesting because Penn State, mercurial team, but they can spring on you if you come in there tripping and not ready to play in that Bryce Jordan Center, which is really big and spacious. And it's hard for them to generate a lot of energy. So if you go in there sleepwalking, you can get beat. So that I'm looking forward to that game. And then Wisconsin and Michigan State ought to be interesting because Michigan State's playing as well as anybody. Wisconsin's playing well. They got snuck. They kind of lost their footing against Oregon down the stretch, but they were playing very well before that loss. So that's going to be an interesting game. And then Illinois at Michigan. We'll see if the Illini can bounce back. I know they play Iowa at home early in the week, but that's going to be a stiff challenge at the Wolverines for the Illini. All right. Now, here's, I guess, what you guys are waiting for. I'm going to give you guys, this is going to come from, this is not my commentary hat. I'm taking that off. I'm putting this on. Okay. And I'm going to explain this to you. So you've read this, right? And you see what I'm saying. So, and it's no shade. It's no shade on the Illini program and Brad Underwood and all that. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I do. But when you bring in guys who couldn't spell Illini before they were being recruited, there's no skin in the game. These are paid mercenaries. Like a lot of college basketball is doing the same thing. This is not just Illinois, but this is me talking as a former alum, as a former player on the best team in program history. All right. This is where I'm coming from a guy that's covered the league for the last 25 years, I believe. So if anybody's in position to explain this, it's yours truly, Stephen Bardo. Okay. So the reason you would see the Illinois teams in the 80s, the early 80s and the mid 80s and the late 80s, the reason you would see them not lose by 25 or 30 is because they cared. They grew up in the state. It meant something to us and to the guys that came before me to put this jersey on. It meant something. But if you're in Lithuania, if you're in Serbia, if you're in Louisville or Evansville, you ain't thinking about the Illini. You're not thinking about it. Ask Mike Woodson what I'm talking about. Umar Ballo didn't know anything about Indiana, but he brought him off the bench. Kanan Carlisle he didn't know much about Indiana, and he's playing reserve minutes, right? Because Mike Woodson, now that he's being forced out, he's going to coach to win. He's getting rid of the politics. right? And so there are different teams around the country that are having similar issues, maybe not to the degree that the Illini are, because we pay so close attention to the Illini program. There are other programs having these same concerns. I don't know if they're necessarily issues. They're just concerns. Because if you put on the Illini jersey and you've lost games by 30, 25, 20, 43, worst in program history, smack somebody, hit somebody. You can't let people prance down the lane and live in the paint. That's really the most disappointing part, right? And this is where I'm coming from. It's gonna be strong, guys. That's why I want you to tune in. This is strong, and this is from an alum. This ain't got nothing to do with my on-air work. This is from an alum, a former player, right? If you're getting embarrassed and they brought in a walk-on to shoot a 3 over the top of you, come on, guys. I'd have smacked the snot out of his nose to even think about raising up for a 3. Are you kidding me? But I would have been ejected a long time before that we got to that point, because I would have been mad at my teammates first. I might have fought my teammates first. I'm not losing like that. And I'm so glad that Dr. Seymour Bryson, Paul Henry, Harvey Welch, Dr. Harold Bardo, I had real men that played at the college level teach me what it means to have the privilege of playing college basketball. I don't give a damn what level you're on. It's a privilege, right? So the problem, the reason that you're seeing this emotion from me is because when I was watching this Duke game, I got taken back to that Loyola game in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Then it reminded me of the UConn game. I mean, these historic drop-offs in production and historic runs against your opponent. Yes, UConn was a national champion, defending national champions, went on win the national championship. It's not that. Loyola. It's not that you lost. I'm not okay with it, but that's not the reason why you're seeing the emotion. The emotion comes from the jersey. If you're not going to compete, then don't play. If you're sick, you've got the flu, you've got mono, don't play. But the person that comes in to play for you, you better bust your ass. Because this is the University of Illinois. This is Big Ten Conference basketball. This is the top level. And you go to Madison Square Garden in prime time on national television and get embarrassed. If you lost, okay. Duke and Auburn are the two best teams in the country right now. No shame in losing to Duke, but you can't. I don't know, guys. I don't know. The Illini since February 1st are 221st in defensive efficiency, worst among high major teams. Number 360 in 3-point percentage defense, and number 362 in turnover rate. Right? They were 2 of 26 from 3 against Duke. So this will coincide with the injuries and the ailments that have really plagued this young basketball team, right? It says since February 1st, I think that flu bug started hitting them at the end of January, maybe, or something like that. So, all right, we get it. They've had a lot to overcome. Yakachonis was in and out of the lineup with the injury. Ivicic was in and out of the lineup with injury and illness. Jake Davis at the Wisconsin game. Underwood didn't even want to have a handshake line because whatever the Illini team has is very contagious. Get it? Right? But put AJ Redd in the game because AJ Redd grew up in Chicago. AJ Redd's dad and grandfather are Michigan State people, alums. His grandfather taught at Michigan State. I bet AJ Redd wouldn't let folks come down the lane. I bet you get an elbow from him. Ty Rodgers. I don't think Ty Rodgers would have sat around and watched that happen. I don't think so. He knows what it means to put it on his jersey. He's a kid from the Midwest area. He understands this, right? So what I'm getting at, guys, is that, and I got another slide, but I'm not going to put it up because I've been biting enough. What I'm getting at is that there's going to have to be a balance within the Illini program and with other programs around the country of how you develop equity and buy-in. So when Rick Pitino said that he's not going to recruit any high school players, right? That hurt a lot of people. That bothered a lot of people. That this season he's not even looking at high school players because he's like, you can't win with high school kids against 23 and 24-year-olds. He's got a great point. However, if you don't have freshmen that come into your program and they may leave, right? This is the transfer portal era. I get it. NIL era. I get it. But if you don't have players that have either grown up in the area that understand the program or come into the program and develop, go to class for a year, get to know some professors, make lifelong friends with some classmates, have experiences on campus. All these things make it to when you put this on, it means something. You're not just playing for yourself. You know that this is not just a one-stop off for you to get to the next level. It means something. So I don't know how that has to work. That's why I don't coach. Because these are very complex situations. And like someone told me, coaches miss sometimes. They do. They miss. Right? But there's got to be a way to develop equity among the players that wear your jersey and represent your program. So Underwood and his staff, they get paid good money. So this is something that they're going to have to figure out because this group doesn't have it. It does not have it. I'm disappointed in Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. I thought Dre would be out there smacking somebody around because he plays hard. He plays like he loves playing for the Illini. And I get it. He's not a starter. He's not one of the main guys on the team. But from one of the few holdouts that has the presence of an Elite Eight participant, I'd like to see him step up. Cuss somebody out, challenge somebody, something. But you can't, you do not want to be a part. You do not want part of your legacy to be, oh man, I was on a team that we had the worst loss in program history. It wasn't in Champaign. It was in Madison Square Garden on national television. As a former player and as an alum, that one hurt. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. That one hurt. And again, I'm not going to show this last one because I was going in even deeper, but I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'll get to your questions here. I want to shout out Tribe member Dave Hill on his birthday and his 27th anniversary over the weekend. Happy birthday, happy belated birthday, and happy anniversary, Dave. Thank you for being a Tribe member and sharing that with me, man. That made me smile. I really, really appreciate it. Again, guys, if you wanted the even more spicy version of what I just gave you in the newsletter, you can text me 312-847-2739 as being a tribe member, or you can go to bardostribe.com and get your free copy of Guide to the New Big Ten. It gets you automatically signed up for the newsletter, and you'll get this great guide that will give you pertinent information about all the teams in the Big Ten in case on your bucket list you want to go to each of them. Okay? All right. Let's see here. Let me take that down. All right. Get to my questions. And my man, Spoon River Cowboy, got on here before I even came on live. Brad Underwood is an excellent coach who will guide and inspire this young team through this adversity and create a good basketball team. I see young talent. I agree. Underwood's a really good coach, right? But he's got challenges right now. This roster is challenging. Marez Johnson's injury is bigger than maybe I even anticipated. The way that he was playing, the energy that he brought to the team, and the different things that he did, his loss is that's impactful. So, but good to see you, Spoon River Cowboy. Thanks for tuning in, my man. This is what I said in response to him before I went live. Thomas, oh boy. Again, if you start the season saying that you're going to shoot over half your shots from three-point land, it's kind of hard to abandon it, isn't it? I mean, if that's what if that's what Tyler Underwood and the staff sat down and created this offense for this particular team, which is not unusual. Kevin Willard does the same thing. It's not an unusual thing. When they sat down and pulled this together, you have to make assumptions, guys, especially when you go get transfers. You get people who are first time in your program. If you don't have a large number of film on them, then you're taking educated guesses. You're taking educated chances, right? On career 3-point shooting percentage, on game film, on if you see them in person, all that, right? So when you develop your schemes and your offensive schematic approach, and half of your shots you want to have from three-point land, that's half your offense. You can't get to February and abandon half your offense. I don't think that's wise. It looks terrible when they're not making shots. But this is how they set the team up. So I don't know. I don't know that you can drastically go away from that. You just have to somehow get these guys more confident in what they're doing. Like I saw a quote where Brad has been telling them, raise up and shoot it like you know how to do, like you've done all your life. But unfortunately, it hasn't translated at this level. And but guys, again, very young team, right? Very young team. But still, I don't know that you can get away from that, Thomas. I really don't. Kevin McDuffie, stay safe on that road, man. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh, Jonathan Taylor. Oh, Jonathan, bless your heart. I can't, because I was in the building in that UConn loss in Elite Eight. That was hard to be there. That was hard. I can't imagine being in Madison Square Garden. Man, that would not. And good thing is I was working. I had a media pass. I was working at the Elite Eight, and I was dressed and all that. But if I went as an alum, as a former player, and I had sweats and stuff on, I wouldn't want to be in your situation. But thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for sharing that. Kevin Lucas, yeah, Trey Holloman was an Illini target. The Illini recruited him out of high school, Minneapolis, I believe. I think he's a Minnesota native. Yeah, Trey Holloman has stayed the course. They've recruited over him, so to speak. And now he's really coming into his own. Great point, Kevin. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, fly line I fly. I saw this. I think Andrew Curbelo has suffered too many concussions, and it's affecting his behavior. I'm really sorry to hear that. I think that's the end of his career. Extremely talented young man. I hope that he can go back to his native Puerto Rico and get into that league, because that's a very good pro league. I think he can play there. He can play pretty much. I won't say pretty much anywhere, because he's tried to play anywhere in the United States and he hasn't been able to do it. Not for reasons on the court, but for reasons obviously off the court or whatever. So I hope he has a soft landing somewhere and that he can be okay. What's up, Dory? Ooh, yeah. How low is their floor? Now that's a great question, Dory, because I haven't heard many people actually throw that out there. Let's hope there's no more illness or injuries, because goodness gracious. It seems like the Illini team's been hit harder than some of the other teams, because I'm around all these teams and all of them have gone through it, but there are several, including Illinois, that have got hit harder by these, and it's not, I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's multiple things. How low is the floor? Ooh, let me think on that one, Dory. I mean, because I talked about it. They've got Iowa at home. They should handle business, but Iowa's playing with house money, and they can score. Iowa can really shoot the basketball. They don't guard very well, but they can score. So if the Illini get in a shootout and they're not strong on the glass, this one could get interesting. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they can rebound. What's up, AA Ron, Aaron Janowski? I'm glad you could make it, partner. Yes, MSU is tough. They are definitely tough. Yeah. I think it's a lot of confidence. Fly line I fly is the only thing I can really point to. I don't see necessarily a change in guys' lift, whether they're falling to the left, falling to the right, fading forward, fading back. I don't see a lot of variation in that. I just see guys that aren't knocking down shots. Confidence thing. I don't know how you overcome that. I'm not sure how you overcome that. You can tell guys, get in the gym, get up more shots. Sometimes that's not the answer. Sometimes you can shoot too much, and that's not the answer. I don't know. But that's why Brad gets paid the big dollars, because he's got to figure that out. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I was going to say, like, Bam, Boswell, he's got all that experience from Arizona, played in high-level basketball. But I don't see the leadership there. Maybe, and he's soft-spoken, because I see him talking on the court, and I see him walking up to a teammate and either giving them encouragement or sharing something that that he thinks is important. But I don't see the leadership there. And maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But he's really the only one that goes up and says anything to anybody that I've seen. Right? So it's a young team, guys, and they're trying to figure it out. No, Carol, I think KJ's played well. I don't have any faults with KJ's game. High turnovers, yeah, but Braden Smith's had 12 turnovers in the last 2 games. It happens. I think Yaki Jones is playing well. I don't think it's a freshman slump. He's not doing the 26, 28 points because he's in conference. It's really hard to score over 25 points a game against a conference opponent in the Big Ten, because you're scouted so freaking well. They know your first 1 or 2 moves with synergy, software, and all that. They know everything you're doing. So, No, I don't think it's a freshman slump. I think he's playing well. Um, yes, Trey White is looking like himself. He's getting back to it, trying to be a little bit more aggressive. So we'll see. David, I understand. I understand. But isn't it the beauty to care about something? It's kind of fun to care about something. Kind of get you off of your life and maybe some of the struggles you're having, that you got a team that you can really pull for and root for, and you've got other people that this is their team as well, and they bleed orange and blue like you do. That's special, right? So understand this part of it. Yes, it can be frustrating. Yes, they can give you high blood pressure. Yes, they can be, all these different things, but it's still your team. It's still something to look forward to. The Iowa game to look forward to against your dreaded Hawkeyes, right? One of the big rivalries against Illinois are the dreaded Hawkeyes. And I'm just being funny, but you have something to look forward to. Now, if Illinois comes out and puts 110 on Iowa and wins, that takes some of the sting off of this loss, right? I mean, just if they win in general, it will take some of the sting from the Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Duke losses. All right. Um, I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't know how I feel about that. Um, mm, I don't know about that. Let me think on that before I comment. Fly line, I fly. I don't know about that. Victor for Spartan Dog for life. What's up, Derek? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Um, Chad, thank you, Chad. I appreciate that, man. Chad saw the email and he appreciated what I had to say. Um, well, Chad, I think they're a tournament team. I think their resume certainly indicates that they're a tournament team. I know the optics don't look great right now, but they're certainly a tournament team. I mean, I don't think that's in question at all. Their wins are pretty impressive. Let me go to DeCourcy's bracketology. Ooh, let's see. That was 6. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to find a link to this bracketology because I want to use DeCourcy's, but it's not the easiest to. Hold on. Yeah, these are old. Okay, let me just go to this one. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Scrolling through this one bracketology piece here. I would share my screen, but I don't want to give them no love. I mean, they got Illinois as a 7th seed in the West. I mean, they're solidly in. I definitely think they're a tournament team. Now, will they do anything in the tournament? Now, that's a different question. But they're certainly a tournament team. Yeah, Carol, you know what's happening? And I was on a radio show the day that Mike Woodson and Scott Dolson, AD, agreed for him to step down after the season. And what I said in that radio interview was Mike Woodson can turn this thing around. All they need is one victory, and they can turn it around. And you see who's getting big minutes now for Indiana? Luke Goody, Anthony Leal, guys that know what it means to put on an Indiana uniform. Guess who came off the bench? Umar Ballo, Mackenzie Mbako, and Kanan Carlisle. Now, Mackenzie was there last year as a freshman, but he's not cutting it. Umar Ballo, maybe that too big lineup may see that it may not work against Purdue. And they won. But they've made changes to who they're playing. And the guys who are playing right now for Indiana, Carol, know what it means to put on a Hoosier uniform. They give a damn. And I think that's what you're seeing. James Young, they've gone through a gauntlet of a schedule, the last 4 games. They've been sick and injured more than probably any other team in the Big Ten. And they're the youngest team in the Big Ten in terms of returning minutes or minutes in Big Ten play. I think they're the youngest. So all that adds up to going through a tough period right now. And it's not the losses that are concerning, it's the way that they lost, in particular in this last game to Duke in Madison Square Garden. That was disturbing. That one bothered me a lot. And I think it bothered other alums a lot. And that's kind of that's the skinny on what's going on with Illinois basketball. Sarah Smile might have gotten it. She might have nailed it. That's about as good. Roller coaster of love. There you go. Well done, Sarah. Well done. No, Phil. No, Phil. No, Phil. Come on now. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Here's the deal. Here's the difference in what I think has happened with the Illini this year compared to what you see other teams with their transfers. I'll give you St. John's for an example. St. John's is one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country. So they don't shoot the 3 a lot. But there are 2.5 games in the lead of the Big East Conference. And they got a ton of transfers. But the difference is their transfers. Hold on. Let me pull up the Big East standings. So I'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. St. John's is 15-2 in the Big East they have 3 games left. At Butler, it's not going to be easy. At home against Seton Hall, who they should beat, and then at Marquette, the season finale, that's going to be a hell of a game. But they're 2 games up in the Big East with 3 games to play. So it looks more like they're going to win the league, right? And when you look at St. John's roster, remember earlier now, I said that Rick Pitino said that he's not even looking at freshmen right now. So when you look at their roster and the guys that are playing heavy minutes, Zuby Ejiofor, Jr., Abini Ayo, Jr., Luis Jr., Ruben Prey is a freshman, going to be a talented 6'10" freshman for Portugal. He's talented. Kadari Richmond, grad senior, super senior. Aaron Scott, senior. Davon Smith, senior. Simeon Wilcher, sophomore. You see where I'm going with this, guys? So Pitino decided to get old transfers. The Illini got 3 older transfers, but their 2 main transfers are freshmen for college basketball purposes, right? And I'm sorry, Riley's incoming freshman, reclassified up, so he should still be in high school, young. KJ and Ivasic, young, right? And then Jake Davis, Trey White, and Ben Humrickhouse. So Humrickhouse as a forward that's gonna be tough for him to be in a leadership position. Trey White could be, but he seems Trey White's personality is not that of a boisterous guy. He seems like more introverted, more sneaky, funny kind of guy. But is a really good competitor. I like Trey White and how he competes, but he's not kind of a leadership guy. And so Jake Davis, not really. So you got a team that really doesn't have a ton of leadership. Whereas you compare that with St. John's, Kadari Richmond has been in college basketball. This is fifth or sixth year, Aaron Scott's been in forever. Davon Smith Sr. He's been in it forever. R.J. Lewis Jr. These guys are old. Zuby Ejiofor started Kansas. He's a junior. These guys are older, and they've been in game scenarios, and so they got the transfer portal, and they got old dudes. They went old, whereas Illinois went young. And I don't think Brad needs to do any soul search or anything like that. He took chances on young transfers, and this is what's happening. And again, guys, you can't control illness and injury. And the Illini have been hit hard by illness and injury, hard. So let's keep that in mind. Miguel, yes, Duke is the real deal, every bit. Tallest team in college basketball. Legitimately, the tallest team in college basketball. They're tough. Them and Auburn, I think, are clearly the two favorites. You might throw Houston in there, but those two are the clear two favorites to win the title, in my opinion. Oh, wow. I didn't know it was Deion Thomas's birthday today. Happy birthday, Deion Thomas. One of the best Illini I've ever put on a jersey. And if anybody has ever met Deion, he is the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Salt of the earth. Happy birthday, Deion Thomas. Love you, big bro. No, I don't think this team has quit. It hasn't quit. Guys, remember, they played UCLA. They won. They played Michigan State. They lost. Michigan State is leading the Big Ten. They've only got 2 losses in conference play. And we got 3 games left in the regular season. That's how good Michigan State's been. So you beat UCLA, who you needed to beat at home. You handle business. You lose to Michigan State. No shame in that. The game at Wisconsin was a little disturbing. That was a little disturbing. I didn't see as much fight as I wanted to in that game. In the Duke game, okay, let's call it an aberration. There's by no means has this team quit on Brad. I don't see. I just didn't see enough fight in some of those losses. That's all. I don't see any quit. I just need to see some fight and some pride. And like, man, it's better to lose by 10 than it is by 43. Fly Illini, fly is hot. I love your passion, man. I get it. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate you. And I appreciate you listening to the games I call. Ooh, Curtis okay, Curtis. Now, Maryland could be a sleeper, guys, but here's the thing. Let me pull up Maryland's let me pull up their roster and their minutes played. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Because their starting 5 is fantastic. Fantastic. There's nothing wrong there. But let's look at the statistics. I want to go in minutes played. Okay. So Maryland's doing a really good job of managing the minutes for their starting 5. There's only one player that averages 30 minutes or more, and that's Jacoby Gillespie, and he's at 30.9. So the minutes massaging that Kevin Willard and his staff have done, kudos to them. Derek Queen, 29.6 minutes per game. Just told you about Jacoby Gillespie. Julian Reese, 27.8. Rodney Rice, 29.7. Selton Miguel, 28 minutes per game. Then Tafara Gapare, very athletic wing, averages like 12 minutes. Deshaun Harris-Smith, you guys remember him. He started last year as a freshman. He averages just under 16 minutes per game. Jay Young gets about 11 minutes per game. Braden Pierce, Malachi Palmer, and Jordan Geronimo are all right in that 9-10 minute range. So they don't have tremendous depth from a point production standpoint. Yeah, no, Nobody else outside of the starting five is averaging more than 5 points a game. So if something happens to one of their starters, they're in trouble, right? So that's my only concern with Maryland. Ooh, Kenneth the Leaf. If you were coaching this team, Stephen, what could you do to stop the downward spiral? Kenneth, that is a great question, and I've got some answers for you. First, the day where there's scheduled practice, call it off. Go watch a movie, go bowling, shoot some darts. The guys that are old enough, let them drink beer. Hang out, man. Blow off some steam. Don't get anywhere near the court. The dudes that want to drink, drink. The dudes that don't drink, don't drink. Play some pool, throw some darts, bowl, play board games. I would have the players come to my house. I would cater some food in. I'd ask the guys who are old enough to drink, what do you want to drink? If you want to drink. If you don't want to drink, fine. But if you want something to drink, fine. Do any of you smoke cigars? I'm serious. Because the last thing that these guys need is getting in the gym and more people pile on top of them. Because all these guys got phones. All of them got social media. They're getting mollywopped. All of them. So if I'm the coach, I want to take them out of that environment. Put your phones down at the door. You're not taking video or pictures of somebody drinking a beer. No, that this stays in house, right? And then you know what else I do, Kenneth? I put on like a game or something, or I'd ask them, do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to watch a game? And we can't watch college basketball. We got to watch an NBA game. Which one do you want to do? All right, you want to do a movie? Okay, let's take a consensus. What kind of movie are we watching? You know what I'm going to make them watch, Kenneth? The Great Zantini. Go back and look at that film. My dad made us watch that movie. That was our family movie, The Great Zantini. I'm making them watch that because it's a touching story of a father who loved his family. He was a military guy who was tough as nails, but he had his flaws. And throughout the movie, it shows his flaws and, how the family overcame some of their adversity. It's a great movie. That's what I'd have them do. And then the next day when it's time to practice, I'm like, you guys remember last night, all the fun we had and all that? That was for me to show you that I love you. But part of me loving you is getting in your right now. And this practice, we going back to hell week. That's what I do. I get mentally, they need to get an adjustment mentally. They have to break up the monotony. They have to break up the routine. Something different. You gotta disconnect the wires and bring them down a bit. Take the pressure off. Have them relax. Have them look at each other and laugh and joke. Not have their phones available, but they forced to interact, forced to laugh, eat, take a nap, drink a beer, smoke a cigar outside, whatever. But just take the pressure off these guys, right? Let them know that they're loved. Let them know that people care about them, that they care about themselves, and that really they don't have anybody They don't have anybody else outside themselves right now. It's them against the world. And so whatever stress, whatever problems they felt, leave it at the crib. Leave it at my house. But the next day when we go to practice, I'm getting in your behind the rest of the season. No, I don't care. Yeah, I know it's late February, it's early March. We may not go long, but we're going hard. We might only go 20, 30 minutes, but you best believe you better be knocking heads in those 20, 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour, whatever. You don't have to go long. These guys, if they ain't in condition now, they ain't going to get in condition. but you better be playing hard. And I'm gonna be if you don't hit this mark on the floor, I'm in your everything that you are not doing. I'm in it. I'm stopping practice. And I'm in you. That's what I would do. Mike Waldboozer, good to see you, Mike. He said he can't stand those squawk eyes. I love it. we'll be at the game tomorrow night. All right, Mike, enjoy yourself, man. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you being on here. No, Chad. I think that was his decision. I was told that it was Ty's decision. He saw what the makeup of the team was going to be. He saw what the emphasis was on. That wasn't the coach. They love Ty Rodgers. They wouldn't. That's legit. That's legit. Because here's the thing: if his coaches told him to redshirt, he could have left. Consider that. What's up, Nasir? What's good, bro? Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate you. Chad, you going in here a little bit, bro. Oh, you going in, bro. He's coaching, man. He's coaching. Guys, this is the youngest team in the Big Ten. They've been decimated with injuries and illness. I know that's not an excuse, right? But it is a factor. It's a big factor. And believe me, Brad is coaching. He's coaching. Don't think he's sitting on his hands, guys. He's not. He's not. Now, Thomas, and here's a problem. You're hitting it on the head. This is going to be an issue throughout college basketball. Now, I think it was developed within Gibbs Lawhorn. I think it was developed with Ty Rodgers. They were on a special Illini team, and they saw the potential of the Illini Nation. So they get it, right? They get it. I don't think there's any question about that. But Ty Rodgers isn't able to be out there and do anything about it. So, but we'll see. I don't, do you try to get one or two freshmen a year? Then you try to get one or two transfers, and then you try to piece it together. You try to get guys to stay. It's so hard in today's game. So you're right, Thomas. Great point. Great point. No, Phil, it's not. I mean, they don't need a pep talk from anybody. They know what they're doing. Brad knows what he's doing. It's a rough patch. We knew this was the most challenging stretch of the season, especially coming off what they're coming off of with trying to get guys healthy, trying to get guys, flueless, away from these nasty bugs that have decimated the team. So no, it's not too late, man. They're fine. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. Chad, I'll put money on it that Kasparis is a lottery pick. We can make a friendly wager. I say $1,000. If you're willing to bet $1,000, I'll make that bet with you. Yakashones is a lottery pick. I think college basketball fans in particular get caught up in thinking that today's NBA is like the NBA of 20, 25 years ago. It's not. It's not. Guys that thrive in the NBA, some of them can't thrive in college. The floor spacing or the lack thereof in college basketball, you don't see the true nature of elite athleticism in college because you can't break a guy off the bounce based on spacing and then take off from outside the lane because there's always somebody right there. So don't mistake college basketball as the preeminent ruler or measurement that NBA people use to evaluate what that talent is going to do at the next level. Really didn't have anything to do with wins and losses. Somebody told me that how can Harper and Bailey be lottery picks? I would take that. I'll take that bet in a heartbeat. They're going to be the number 2 and 3 picks in the NBA draft. So I encourage you guys, go look at a few NBA games and look at how the NBA's drafted the last couple of years, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There'll be guys drafted in the first round that may have played, 6-7 man roles in college, and you're going to look and say, like, what? Where is this guy? I didn't even see this kid. Because the NBA game is way different than the college game. So, but Chad, if you want to bet, $1,000 though, I ain't betting nothing under $1,000 because I want to make some money. Yes, has it been a rough season for the Illini guys? Has it really been? Let's think about this for a second. Let's think about this for a second. This is where I'm going to get some brevity to this conversation. You lose to number 8 Alabama by 13, but you were competitive, right? You beat an Arkansas team. You beat a ranked Wisconsin team who is better now than they were then, but they were the number 20 team in the country then. You beat number 20 Wisconsin. You lose to number 1 Tennessee on the last second layup. Then you come back and beat a Missouri team that let's look at Missouri right now. Let's see what the Tigers are doing in SEC play. A Tigers team that did not win a game last season in SEC play. But wait a minute. This year, Missouri is tied for third in the best conference in the country. Right? Didn't Illinois win the bragging rights game? I think they did. I think they won 80-77. So, all right, let's keep going. You guys remember the Oregon game? The most points of a visiting team to a top 10's home floor in the history of college basketball. Did we forget that game? 109-77. Did we forget that one? Oh, okay. Then maybe beating Penn State at home 91-52. Okay, now, yes, there was a head scratching loss at home to USC. We can get into some of these losses. Yeah. But at Indiana, 94-69? Been a bad season? No. The Illini Nation is coming off an Elite 8 appearance. So you're going to be punch drunk a little bit. This is, bro. The Illini are 17. They're 17-11. This is a good season. Maybe it's not the one everybody wanted, but it's a good season. They beat UCLA at home, and now they're on a 3-game slide. Embarrassing loss coming off their last one. I get it. It's still it's a good season, guys. You want to go back to John Gross? You want John Gross led teams? And John Gross is a great guy. I just don't think he was a good fit for Illinois. You want to go back to the late Bruce Weber years? Everybody knows Bruce Weber can coach, but those were frustrating years. They weren't sniffing the tournament. They weren't sniffing Big Ten championships. They weren't sniffing lottery picks. Guys, Kasparis and Will Riley will be the first one and done first round draft picks of the NBA in Illinois basketball history. So come on, guys. Keep things in perspective. This is a good season. There's a lot of new firsts in this program. They've set some records. They've set NCAA records. Right? Now they've looked horrible as well. They have. They've had times where they've looked horrible. Like, what is going on? But overall, guys, keep in perspective. This team could finish the regular season with 20 wins. I ain't never heard of somebody say a 20-win team was a bad team or that was a bad season. Right? They can still get to 20 wins before the NCAA tournament. Easy. So come on, guys. Let's keep some perspective here. It's been an up and down season. It's been a season maybe where you lick your lips in that loss to number 1 Tennessee at home and you think this is going to be the norm and it hasn't been. That's all right. It is what it is. But it's been a good season. AJ may have missed 4 straight free throws, but you're not going to punk him. He knows what it means to wear the jersey. Keith, I don't think, Keith Douglas. Guys, Keith Douglas is part of what I call one of the first families of basketball in the state of Illinois. Keith, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. I think, Keith, with the exodus of people leaving the state of Illinois, the talent is not what it used to be. So, one, we don't have as many state residents, and two, the biggest area is losing the most people, Chicago, that would supply a large number of players. But places like Quincy, where Keith and his family are from, places like Carbondale, Centralia, Collinsville, Champaign Centennial, Rock Island, all these places that had really strong traditional high school programs, they've all suffered with the population drain that's left the state. So I think is it this Illinois got a historic class though. It's either the sophomore or junior class. It's a historic class. It's like one of the ones, Keith, when you were in hooping coming out, it's like one of those class. It's either the sophomore or junior class, but it's a really good one. So it ebbs and flows, but it's not as consistent as it used to be. Heck yeah, we play defense. If you couldn't play defense, you wouldn't get on the floor. You couldn't play for Lou Henson if you didn't lock down. Kenneth, ladies and gentlemen, read this twice. And I'm going to read it out loud. You're not a bad fan if you criticize the team that you love, because you want them to do better. So there, Kenneth, that sums it up. I'm coming on here because I was frustrated with that game, the embarrassment. Like games like that Duke lost, guys, it's embarrassing to be a part of the program. I can't walk around with Illinois stuff on after getting blasted like that. I went out this morning on a walk because the weather's better and I want to get some fresh air. So I had this Illini jogging suit. It's straight Illini jogging suit. It was too thin. So I started out to go and I had to come back in and put a heavier one on. But obviously I had forgotten about the Duke game momentarily because, man, I walk around Chicago and you wear something Illinois on after that game, they'll say something to you. They'll talk trash on you. I don't want that, man. So this is why I wanted you all to come on today. Voice your frustration. Let's keep things in perspective. and have some hope moving forward for the program to improve this season. They might rally and do something spectacular this season. The way they looked at parts of the game against UCLA, I thought they were a sleeper Final Four pick. Not after that Duke game. If you will allow a team to do you like that, you don't have what it takes to advance through the tournament, deep into the tournament. I don't think. Now, they could surprise me. Because the guys that play that are really good in the NCAA tournament, and if they're older, if they sense any doubt in your mind, any quick, because I used to do it, pounce. They'll pounce on you. You're not going to see a team that advances in the NCAA tournament that's lost a game by 20 points. I don't think you'll see it. Let me go back. Let me pull up. I'm not even going to pull up Auburn or Duke. I'm just going to pull up somebody in the top 25. And let's get somebody outside the SEC and Big 12. Let's see. Where is it? Rankings. All right. Let's pick let's pick Arizona. Big 12. Let's pick Arizona. 22nd ranked team in the country right now. 18-9 on the season. Illinois 17-11 on the season. Arizona's second in the Big 12 right now. All right. So they got smashed by Wisconsin. I did that game. 103-88. Right? But that's not 20 points. They lost to Duke 69-55. That's not 43 points. All right. They lost to Oklahoma. They lost to West Virginia, single digits. They lost to UCLA by 3. They lost to Texas Tech at Texas Tech by 16, and Texas Tech is a really good team. They lost at Kansas State by 3. They lost to Houston at home by 4. They won at Baylor. Wow. And then they lost a really controversial game at home to BYU by 1. This is a team that has the mettle to move through a NCAA tournament. You can't be a team that advances where you've had games where you just I don't know. Things aren't going well. I'm looking around. Who am I looking around to? You can't do that against really elite teams. They'll take advantage of that. Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know Dr. Reed passed away. Wow. I'm going to call Ron when I get off. Thanks, James, for sharing that, man. I appreciate that. I didn't realize he had passed. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know what, Thomas? I think some of the coaches are in favor of those 2-year deals, and I think it might come to fruition. But I've heard several coaches who like that, who would want that. Chad, I'm gonna let you vent, bro, because you are going in today. Look, Ben's not a bum by any stretch of the imagination. He's had a tough season. I went through I did some numbers on Humbrick House. And I don't know if it's going to do any good to share them because it's only going to get you all fired up more. But the numbers are inconsistent. And he's had a couple games where he scored 0 points. That can't happen. 0 against Duke, 0 against Maryland. That can't happen. Gotta have some. Gotta get an offensive rebound put back. Gotta get on the break. Something. Gotta give me something. Can't have 2 donuts and you getting starter minutes at Illinois. That can't do that. And I'm not even talking about his defense. Trying to get some. Julian Brown, what's up, Julian? My brother from another mother, former Illini football great. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, man. Love you. Yeah, Ronnie, they had been playing pretty good defense, but that's kind of, with those injuries and the illness, that's it. Their defense has definitely not been good. I put some numbers up early in the show. Hell, I'll bring them up because it points to the nature of what's happened since February 1st. Since February 1st, these are the defensive numbers, right? And I threw the 2 of 26 from 3 in against Duke because that's been a common complaint for fans and alums alike, and former players alike. That's something that Chad Alt is going in, y'all. Oh my gosh. Those that are live, they can see his comments. Ooh, I can't. I'm not putting that up. Tyson, I said this 2 months ago. I called Western Michigan at Michigan State game late in the non-conference slate, and I said that I thought Jace Richardson was MSU's best player, and it's starting to show. Chad is going in. Wyatt Robinson. Okay, wait a minute. What's up, Wyatt Robinson? I don't know if this might be your first time. Welcome on Bardo's Breakdown. But it's not just his inside play. It was his defense, his hustle, and he's a fan favorite. Dane would probably not fit well in this system, but I'm so happy to see him doing well at Memphis. I really, really am. And Nick Anderson was a beast. Nick was tough. Guys, Moon Doggy. If this is the first time to Bardo's Breakdown, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I think you guys want somewhere to point the finger of what's going on, and Tyler's not it. The coaching staff's not it. They're not it. Can they make adjustments? Of course. Can they do things differently? Of course they can. But they can't shoot 3-point shots. That's what a lot of their offense is predicated on. That's why they recruited these guys, because they can shoot. Could shoot before the season. Let me put it like this. Put it like that. Being able to shoot at the Big Ten level is different. Being able to shoot at the level of the schedule that Illinois played is different. They played a top-notch schedule. It's different. So getting shots off at Evansville or at Louisville or at Mercer, it's a lot different than getting shots off at Illinois. A lot different. So I see what you're saying, but I think you're barking up the wrong tree. Just my opinion. But thanks for tuning in, man. Glad to have you. Cool name too, Moon Doggy. I like that. Tyson, Rutgers is not going to be dangerous because they play 4 freshmen, and they're trying to develop those guys now, and they think that that's their best route. So when you're going with 4 freshmen, that's going to be difficult. And these guys they're fun to watch. Oh, they're fun to watch, and they are supremely talented. But they haven't shown the ability outside of the Players Era tournament. They had a good win out there against Texas A&M, and they beat Notre Dame as well. I think that's right. Am I getting them mixed up with Oregon? But they had some good games out on the Players Era, but that was early. That was before people had film on them. It's hard to put teams on your back if you're a freshman. I don't care how good you are. Look at Kasparis Yakachonis in Illinois. He's trying to put the Illini on his back at times. It's tough. You got to have some dudes, man. It's in the tournament, you got to have some dudes. Marty, and thank you for your question. And I think, guys, and it's natural for college basketball fans for your expectations to elevate because all of a sudden these guys are so-called getting paid. But they're still 18 to 22 years old. They're still really formulating into adults. And they can be fragile at times. And that's what you're seeing. Confidence is a fleeting thing. And they lack confidence. And it's really not there's not a whole lot the coaching staff can do in that scenario. You think these guys don't shoot threes in practice? Of course they do. They get their individual work in. They do all that. But if you lose your confidence, it's not a whole lot you can do. Yeah, Glenn, to the degree of the turnaround is let's wait and see, right? What are your expectations, Glenn, of them in the Big Ten tournament? Like, one, I'm hopeful they'll be fairly healthy in terms of illnesses. That would be nice. They're going to be banged up because everybody's banged up at that time of year. But to expect this team that's been so inconsistent to kind of run through the Big Ten tournament, I don't necessarily see that. I don't see that happening. I can see them winning some games, but I don't see them winning it. Who's Johnny? Here's the deal. And I think I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. Let's go back to their minutes. And I was really impressed how Maryland manages their starters' minutes because they get the majority of their points from their starters. When you look at Braden Smith, he plays 36 and a half minutes a game. Let's see Big Ten leader in minutes. Leaders in minutes played. Let's see. See if I can come up with something here. So Nick Martinelli right now is averaging 37.2. That's the most in the Big Ten. And Braden is right behind him at 36 and a half minutes a game. So Braden Smith is 6 foot, 175 pounds. Purdue has played 27 games. He's averaging 16 points a game, 5 rebounds, almost 9 assists, and he's shooting 40. Wait a minute. He's shooting 36 from 3, 86 from the line. Now he averages 2.8 turnovers a game because he's got such high usage. So when you put Yakachonis's turnovers in perspective, guys, it's just a little bit more than some of the best players in the conference. But getting back to your point, Braden Smith has played a ton of minutes, and Purdue gets everyone's best shot. Illinois, I don't think gets everybody's best shot. I don't think that they had quite the reputation or respect or the expectations that were placed upon the Boilers. So Smith had 24 at Michigan in a 2-point loss. He had 12 assists in the loss at Wisconsin. And then against Michigan State, he had 6 turnovers, but I think he had 14. 17. He had 17, 8 assists and 5 rebounds, 6 turnovers, a lot of turnovers. He's had 12 turnovers the last 2 games, but I think he's getting worn down. So looks terrible. Shoot. Every coach in America would take what you think looks terrible. They take him right now, tired and all. Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe for the expectations that you had and what others had, because they were highly touted. Yeah, but but they're a tournament team. I don't know anybody that's had a bad year that went to the NCAA tournament. I don't know. Tom, these are the multi-million-dollar questions. Again, guys, I don't know that you can change spots or colors in mid-season. I don't think that's how it works. It's really, really hard to do. And at this level, hard to do. And guys, wait a minute. Let's go back. Let's go back now. It seems as though, I know it seemed like the sky is falling, but let's go back and let me show you where Illinois is in Big Ten play. They're 9-8, right? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 teams ahead of the Illini right now in the Big Ten. Keep perspective, guys. Keep the perspective. They're 9-8 in conference play. It's okay. Now, Tom, you make some great points. I just don't think you can change your colors this late in the season. I don't think it can work. You just got to try to figure out a way. Hopefully the Iowa game can be a get-right game. You can see some shots fall. You hear the crowd cheering for you. You have a better feeling. You're sleeping at home. You get loved up by your fan base, hopefully, right? And then the shots may start to fall. But outside of that, I don't think you can change your colors this late in the season. Stacy Goodson, good to see you on here. Thank you for tuning in. Who's Johnny? Johnny, what fan base do you like? Who do you follow? I'm just curious. KJ has to be developed. For who? Sun Tours 9. Who's he got to be developed for? It's not the old way that things are done in the college and NBA games anymore, guys. Bro, I want some of whatever you drinking. Oh man, you are like, you going in too. Let me get somebody else. Ooh, Jonathan Willenborg. Ooh. The offense doesn't look great right now, guys. But it's an attempt to get more modern so that you can get some of these European players that fit into that scheme very well, which the Illini did. Just haven't shot the ball well and been, again, decimated by illness and injuries. That's a factor, guys. Morez Johnson was playing as well as anybody in the Big Ten Conference when he broke his wrist. And I've had a chance to think about that. Hope like hell he doesn't come back for Big Ten tournament. This team, and I'm going to say something that might be very controversial. I don't care. This team is not good enough for him to risk his career to come back in the Big Ten tournament. If he's got a broken wrist, let me see what the bare minimum of healing time for a broken wrist. Let's see. Wrist fracture. So there are 10 bones in the wrist that are affected, right? Let's see. Yeah, see, there's some factors involved with having a misdiagnosed wrist, and you continue to use it. Let's see. You're healing by taking weekly X-rays for at least 3 weeks. Then you'll have another X-ray at 6 weeks. Ooh, that's 9 weeks. Now, okay, let's say 5 weeks. So from the time, yeah, still don't like it. If you now last year's team, if you're trying to come back, I get that because you can see that last year's team had momentum, they had consistency, but if he's healed, yes, but I don't know. But I digress. Why did I saw something? Yeah, I don't think those guys leaving is a major factor, Jonathan. I think they would have helped? Yes. Do I think Zach Hamer and Tyler Underwood are more than qualified to do the job that they're doing? Absolutely. Again, guys, they have to take some of the blame, no doubt about it. But they can't go out and shoot the jumpers. They just can't. Oh, we have a little scuffle. Hey, Scott, thank you, man, for tuning in, and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. I want to give you guys a chance. Big Ten fans, in particular Illinois fans, I got to get better at letting you guys vent after some of these games because it's a lot. It's a lot. Would Woodson want to come back if that's an option? Good question, Curtis. I doubt it. But you never know. Mark Smith says if he likes Duke by 12 over Houston in an NCAA tournament championship. Okay. That's strong. I don't know anybody's beating Houston by 12. You beat Houston more than single digits, you doing something. Chad, Illini have 11 losses. It's not over. They'll be in the tournament. Now they can't collapse. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blind. Illinois can't collapse down the stretch. They can't do that. They can't lose against Iowa at home. Going to Michigan is going to be a tall task. I don't know that. I'm sure Michigan will be favored in that. And then Purdue coming to Champaign. Both teams kind of reeling right now. They can't lose all three and then lose the first round in Big Ten tournament. No, they cannot do that because now you're sweating. But I don't anticipate that happening. Let's see who else I haven't gotten to. Oh, Marsman makes a good point. RJ's doing pretty well in Georgia. He's playing. He's getting a lot more minutes. Uh, Dane is doing well in Memphis. Sincere and Amani are doing well in West Virginia. They were doing a lot better early in the year. I think their team is not doing as well because DeVries has been hurt. Epps on UCLA, Miller. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Um, you guys, you guys are killing me. I don't want you guys arguing to where somebody else don't want to come back. Be nice. Um, yes, and Luke Goody. So happy for him. So happy for him. Oh, thanks, Bo. That was a fun game because St. John's, man, love seeing them in person. They're gonna be a problem in the tournament. If they can get Kadari Richmond healthy, they're gonna be a problem. Mm, man, this is so fun. If you're not on YouTube, you need to be on YouTube to cast this back and forth. Uh, oh, Stacy Goodson thinks the Illini can win out and get a buy, not a double buy, but a buy. They're still in range of that. And are you doing no, I'm not doing any more Illinois games. Unless I catch them in the tournament, I'm not doing any more Illinois games. In the Big Ten tournament. Um uh guys, don't you think that Brad Underwood would have a reason not to play Will Riley more than Humrickhouse? As as talented as we've seen Will Riley bust out certain games, I don't know that Will Riley is strong enough yet to play 25 minutes, 30 minutes consistently in a Big Ten battle. I don't know if he can physically handle that. I don't know if physically, defensively, he can stay locked in long enough to not be a detriment when he's on the floor. I don't know if he's at that point. So, guys, 10 months ago, 11 months ago or so, when Illinois was making this run to the Elite Eight, Brad Underwood could do no wrong. Every button he pushed seemed to work, right? It's the same coach, guys. It's not. He didn't forget how to coach. So when you see something like this, to me, it points. It he said, "Bum Rick House." Ooh, Chad, you on one. I ain't go. Oh boy, that's funny. That is funny though. Bum Rick House. That's funny. Um, Kedrick Prince does a great job of covering the Illini. Kedrick, I don't think anybody wants. They don't want him gone. They don't want him gone. And yes, he's breaking down the financials for Underwood's contract, which is well deserved, which runs through 20. Um, okay, so I think Kedrick his contract runs through 28. I think, isn't that right? 20. He got extended. He got extended in 22 at the end of 22 through 28 through 27, 28, I believe. So thank you for sharing this. I really appreciate it. And thanks for tuning in, Kedrick. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it, man. Now, this was a trip. This is a trip. Okay. Now, if Tomislav Ivicic is going to drive himself from Champaign to Madison, that ain't a short trip, y'all. That's like 4 hours. I heard that and I was like, what? He did what? Drove himself to the game. Yeah. Okay. Here's what somebody that is dear to me used to tell me all the time. If you're hurt, you can play. If you're injured, don't play. If you're under the weather, go ahead and play. If you're sick, don't play. Right? So some of this is, I love the fact that he did that. That points to a level of character that is impressive. But if you're that sick, stay at home. Stay at home. Because you're risking getting others sick. And at this time of the year, I don't know. But that is impressive. I did hear that. And that I was impressed with him doing that. Carol, I don't know about that. You would love me, but you'd also hate me because I would drive you hard to a point where I don't think that I would be a very successful coach because I'd get too. I'm really too passionate as it is. That's why I didn't go into coaching because I don't think I would be very good at that. The X's and O's part, I think I'd do well at. The motivating and trying to massage egos and stuff, that's where I would fail miserably. That's what I'm talking about, Joe Brenner. Right here. This is a fan that needs to be at State Farm Center for the Iowa game if you can be, Joe. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Preach. I'm starring that comment. Well said, Joe. Appreciate you tuning in. Trying to get some people that haven't. Dory tribe member. I sure hope DGL Morez and Ty next year. Would like to see Will Riley back. I would too, Dory. But there's poaching. There's all kind of tampering and stuff in college basketball right now. All kinds. There's all kind of people calling these guys at all teams. It's the nature of it now. Chad, you gonna take that bet? Hold on. Chari Muzaffar. I think I've seen you on here before, Chaudhry. I hope I'm saying your name correct. Can this group recover and still go on a run? No, it's not a lost case by any shot of imagination. They can turn around. I don't know how deep they can go just because they haven't shown a level of consistency, albeit injuries and illness have affected this team greatly. We're not going to be on the call together, Wyatt. Oh, you said enjoy the show. When? Okay, I got you. Yeah, it's fun. Robbie's fun. He's doing a hell of a job. I think he's the best in the business right now, and and he's he can laugh at himself as well. So that's a good thing. All right, I think I got everybody that I was trying to get people that I hadn't seen before. Oh, Andy Beers. What's up, Andy? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys, don't forget, where are my things here? Had a nice crowd today. If you want to join the tribe, text me 312-847-2739 and you can go to bardostribe.com, get your free copy of Guide to the New Big Ten, and you'll be signed up for the newsletter. Guys, this was great. I think this is my longest show ever. We're almost at an hour and 50 minutes. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion of Big Ten college basketball. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the week of games. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll try to get back to you ASAP. Enjoy the games. Until next time, holla, y'all.